On this episode of the Reloop Brief, we're looking at mixed waste sorting. We'll find out exactly what it is and how it can increase recycling rates while reducing overall waste. This time, we're joined by Anna Larsson, Reloop's Director of Circular Economy Development, and we start by finding out just why mixed waste sorting is so important.
Yeah, indeed, it is increasingly important to look into the all categories of waste that we generate every day. We used to talk about separately sorted waste categories like packaging, but now more and more we need to look into what we have left in our black bins. So, what's hidden there? And as we know, it's not only residual waste. So, the categories that we would send now for incineration or landfilling, but they include a lot of useful recyclables. And that's where mixed waste sorting comes in, because I think we need to start talking about mixed waste. So anything that we leave after separation of packaging or electronic and electrical waste or oversized waste or hazardous waste, we need to really make sure that we have separated everything that is useful for the recycling or even reuse processes. As of today, we should look into the mixed waste as a potential waste category where we can still find useful recyclables.
And I think you sort of mentioned it there, taking the black bag, ripping it apart, and almost starting again in some respects, because when you separate your recyclables as we know it, maybe your plastic bottles or your tin cans, or if you've got a glass bottle bank nearby or whatever, that's great. But there are still a lot of valuable and recyclable resources in that black bag.
Yes, and I'm very happy that you have given some examples because this is exactly what a lot of people think. Let's separate bottles and cans, so beverage containers, and the job is done. The job is not done because we have a lot of packaging items that we probably do not consider as valuable for recycling processes. When you look into the packaging that you have left after eating your breakfast, I guess it will be some plastic bag from the loaf of bread. There will be some box of raisins, probably plastic also. You live in Scotland, so I guess the element of your breakfast is porridge and it's usually filled with raisins. So there you go. You have a lot of packaging that you still can separate for the recycling processes. And people very often forgot about that. And especially about the packaging types that are flat, like plastic film. We are very good with 3D packaging formats. As I mentioned, it could be the box of raisins, it could be the container after yogurt, but the plastic film and plastic bag after loaf of bread, that's very, very seldom in the bins dedicated for the recyclables. And that's again where mixed waste sorting comes in because it makes it possible to use those recyclables in the circular economy models.
Obviously, we know if we can reuse something, if we can repurpose something, that's fantastic. This sort of mixed waste sorting that people are talking about, how does that get to the next step? What is the next step for that? How does it solve the issues within the waste crisis that we're having?
First of all, it provides with more recyclables for the circular economy models. So we would have more substrates from post-consumer waste that could feed the circular economy and circular production of new packaging. But furthermore, looking into mixed waste sorting opportunities, we'll quickly learn that there are huge benefits related to the climate footprint, gas emissions reductions. As Eunomia calculated, only with mixed waste sorting and mixed waste sorting of packaging, plastic and metal, textiles, we will be able to reduce carbon footprint with 21% of the total waste sector related emissions. So it's twofold. We will gain more resources for circular economy, for circular production models, and we will save our planet because we will reduce carbon footprint.
Now, one of the things that I guess some people might say is that sounds like a lot of work. That sounds like it'd be really difficult to do that. Might even be quite expensive. What's your take on that?
If it is difficult, I would say no. It is already happening today in many places in Europe, regardless the geographical location. It is already taking place in Nordic countries, in Central Eastern Europe, in Western Europe, and I will surprise you. It's also already calculated into the data related to the separately collected recyclables. So, in many municipalities and in many statistics, recyclables that come from mixed waste sorting are already part of separately collected amounts. So, this is already taking place. Is it expensive? Well, there is data on that. Dominic Hock has done a report on this topic for Zero Waste Europe, and it can be easily noticed that this is absolutely not expensive option. And for average consumer or average expert in waste management field, we can imagine plastic packaging as quite problematic waste category because it's lightweight. Would you like to add one more bin and place it in the remote villages in Scotland or Norway? Or would you rather collect waste categories together and proceed with downstream separation, which is anyway needed for separation of different categories of, for example, plastic polymers? So you will quickly come to the conclusion that it does not necessarily have to be expensive exercise.
I know that you've worked on case studies where mixed waste sorting is happening, and we'll be able to link to that. But what would you say to, I guess, governments, officials that are thinking, okay, right, maybe that's something we should be looking at? What's the approach for them?
I would definitely say that mixed waste sorting already happens today. Is part of efforts to separate more recyclables for the circular economy processes alongside source separation of packaging recyclables. What should be, however, added to the environmental strategies of individual countries and also at the European Union level would be the compensation of the industry for the costs related to the downstream separation. So, for the separation of the recyclables coming from mixed waste. This is essential to adopt the principles of so called extended producer responsibility.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast. I'm sure we'll be speaking again, whether it's about mixed waste sorting or whether it's something else. I'm sure we'll be chatting again on the podcast. So for now, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Reloop Brief. Remember, you can check out previous episodes covering a wide range of topics and subjects, and subscribe or follow so you can get details of our next episode.